Hello, everyone. It is so awkward. We are technical difficulty figuring it out, and our music is gone because of it. And so that was really awkward to stare at you and not know when it was going to happen. But we are live here at Bat City Comic Professionals in Bradenton, Florida, to wind down your weekend. As always, I am your host, Shannon, aka Small Press Shann, here to talk to you about all of this week's new indie and small press releases. And I'm very excited because as always, it's a great week in comics, and we had some really great events and everything this week. A huge one, if you didn't know, that we're going to talk about in just a minute. But first up, you can't wind down your weekend without the wine. So today we are drinking Tassajara. It's a Pinot Noir. It's made in Tassajara, California area, and it is actually supposed to be a food-friendly, sustainably grown Pinot Noir. And I think it's really cool to hear that it's like off of a farm that's sustainably growing its grapes and everything for its wine. I think that's really cool. It's actually like certified in that, which is awesome. But it's supposed to have cherry flavors and smooth, silky finish, which is, of course, what I expect from a Pinot Noir. But we're going to give it a go and have a little taste and see what we think. And Pinot Noir is one of Matt's favorite styles of wine, so I'm really curious to see what he has to say about our sustainably grown Pinot Noir. That is very cherry. It's very good. Yeah, it does have a silky finish, that's for sure. It's got a little bit of the like tannin kick afterwards, like as it goes down, but it's actually very good. And this one we got at Costco, which is cool. We don't go to Costco very often, and so we haven't tried all their wines yet, and so it was cool to find a different one, and give it a try. And I definitely see how this would be really good with food. Like, this is something that it's gonna pair well with a lot of different things, and I have a feeling that when we eat dinner later with the remainder of the bottles, it's gonna taste very, very good. But if you are winding down your weekend with anything exciting, let us know. And as always, I will point out that I find water very exciting. It's actually my favorite beverage. So if you are drinking water of any kind, please let me know in the comments, because I love to hear what kind of waters people like. I'm also going to share this stream out really fast so that people know we're talking and it's time to come join us. So let's talk comics. And then there we go. Sweet. And I'm going to slide this over just a little bit because I believe you have seen what it is, and you know what it is now, and you're ready to go. And if you're like me, you're definitely ready to talk about all of the fun we had this week. If you're a fan of comics, you know that this is the biggest week of the year for comic book stores. We are celebrating Free Comic Book Day, or we just did yesterday, this week. And so that's kind of, for us, the equivalent of Black Friday in the rest of the retail world. It is an international day of comics. And so every store that wants to can opt into Free Comic Book Day. Retailers buy the comics, which is a common misconception, that, we get them for free. We actually buy them from the publishers in the same way that we do any other comics. They're just something that we all kind of like, they build out as samplers for all their product that has come before or will be coming in the future, to get you excited about comics and to show people who may have never experienced the medium a great opportunity for a jumping in point. And so every year retailers pick between 40 and 70 titles that they buy, or they buy all 40 to 70 of them, and they make them available to the general public to come in and experience a comic book store, oftentimes for the very first time. And so to kind of entice that and make it even more fun, most retailers will create some really crazy, cool, awesome events. And I saw a lot of really cool ones in everybody's recaps this year. There was some fantastic ones all across the world that I was super like jealous that I couldn't go to everybody's at the same time. Like, if I had a time machine, I think that's one of the things I would do, is I'd hit like every Free Comic Book Day in the world on one year. But we were so fortunate that we were able to build an incredibly huge event for yesterday that like this mass quantity of the city of Bradenton came out for. It was so incredible to have so many people from our city and our county be a part of the event, and then to have so many people from the city, the county, and all of the surrounding county areas actually show up. There was at least more than 1,000 of you yesterday, which was really cool. So we're very, very thankful to everybody who showed up just to check out the free comics and to check out Bat City. A lot of you for the first time, like I said. But we want to send some special shout outs to all of our people who were a part of the event. So I'm going to try to do this in as much of an order as possible. So we had some really great community partners in the Manatee Public Library System, the Reflections of Manatee Historical Society Museum that's just down the street, the Bradenton Vision Survey, which was really cool to have them out talking about what the future of Bradenton could look like and what we all want to see. We also had our some of our vendors, which was Shelf Indulgence with their book bus, Cartoon Woodworks, which was really cool. John had some really awesome new stuff to share. ACDC Carts and Custom Comic Creations with all of those awesome rugs. If you didn't get one of those handmade rugs yesterday, come get an ACDC Custom Comic Creations card and call them and get your amazing rug. I have one of their rugs in my house. You should have one in your house. They're fantastic. We had our artist in our, we had Alfred Page, we had TV Artworks, we had Gary Barker, we had Austin McKinley, we had Adrian Prudhomme, we had Anthony Pizzo, we had so many cool creators that was just like out there just doing some incredibly awesome art. We had our good friends from Descent into Gaming doing gaming demos all day and selling some really cool, great, like, cards and games. It was awesome because somebody came up to me and said, "Do you sell Pokemon cards?" And I was like, "I don't, but our friends at Descent into Gaming, just on the front side of the store, actually do, and they have some available, so you can go get them today." So it was great to be able to say that for once. They also had a Dogman board game that I think at least 100 kids lost their mind over. So if you need a Dogman board game for you and your family to play, head out to Descent into Gaming. And then we had our incredible friends, the Good News Grillers, out there making hot dogs all day for everybody. They had hot dogs, they had like 4 different kinds of chips, they had sodas, they had waters. They kept everybody satisfied with food and drink most of the day yesterday, which was really incredible. Thank you to Jay Ellis and team from the Good News Grillers for setting that up and for providing it free to our community. That was such an incredible experience. And then we had the incredible, the wonderful Patterson Foundation with us, a group of people who are so incredibly strongly working to make literacy happen for so many people across 4 counties worth of space on the Sun Coast. And it was such an honor to have them signing people up for This Book is Cool, which is a program you can still sign up for to get your kiddos free books for the summer for anybody that's pre-K through 3rd grade or 1st grade, I believe it is, that they'll send out 20 books for your kids this summer in a little backpack, which is great. And thank you to the Patterson Foundation for all of their support for helping us make not only our educator workshop and our Academic Avengers Day happen, but even help with their support and help for Free Comic Book Day yesterday. It was absolutely incredible, and we're so honored to have been a part of Remake Learning Days this year. It just ended yesterday. We were part of that last big hurrah for Remake Learning Days, which is an international festival just promoting learning as a family, reading as a family, and just growing together. And so we're so happy to have been a part of that and to have them out here for our experience and supporting our experiences that we were creating. So thank you so much to the Patterson Foundation for that. We love you. And thank you to the secret surprise visit from Quacky from the Pay Center for Girls. We got to have Quacky stop by yesterday. There is still time, I believe, to buy your duck, which is actually making a donation to the Pay Center for Girls, which is going to help young girls in underserved communities and families get the help they need to get their education and experiences provided for them through the Pace Center, which is really incredible. And there is a duck race next weekend with the Pace Center. So you can win lots of prizes just by buying a duck, which helps, again, support a girl in need. So it was incredible. But we also had our cosplayers. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot all of our cosplayers. Costumers of the Cause, who were raising money for the Allie Spears Foundation to support families who are dealing with childhood cancer and also to help find some prevention and some cures for childhood cancer. It was great to have them out with their Ghostbusters Ectomobile and in their suits and letting kids put on proton packs. It was so great. And to our princess Princess Alicia, who is always amazing and wonderful, here to make kids smile. I was so happy to have you. And K Diddy Cosplay, it was incredible to see you out sporting that cap outfit and showing off Captain America for all the kids. And it's so good to have you all. And to the wonderful, incredible educator of the year, Jason Wall, who showed up as Mr. J to help it in anywhere and everywhere that I could need him. And he did a phenomenal job, just making my life all day long a little bit easier. And speaking of that, there were so many incredible volunteers who helped make this day possible. We could not have done it without all of their stamping assistants, the amazing Santiago on Register, who literally just has volunteered like 3 times and then got to run the Register the entire 7 hours of Free Comic Book Day after only running the Register 3 times. So shout out to Santiago, and thank you for everybody who supported him as he made that happen. It was his first ever sale to work as a volunteer, and he rocked it. Of course, to Kai and Becca and Aster and Dawn and oh my gosh, Alex and Mike, who took down all of the tents at the end of the day, all of our volunteers who just showed up, putting things together, taking them apart, stamping comics all week long. Matt and I literally could not have done it without you, so thank you so much for proving what Bat Fam really is and showing up every time we need you. You guys are amazing. And so we want to shoot a super big shout out to y'all. And since we're talking about Free Comic Book Day, I have to give Anthony a shout out for these incredible thank yous that he gave us, which I feel like we should be thanking you for bringing your awesome pizza cartoons to Free Comic Book Day, and doing like free and dollar sketches for people who wanted them, and these are just absolutely incredible. And so we appreciate you, Anthony, for always being here and helping out, but also bringing your awesome art with you. Sweet. I was like, I don't want to move them too soon because they're so cool.
Thanks for the Dick Tracy, Anthony.
Thanks, Anthony. And we also, I have to do a shout out. This book did actually come out this week, but I'm also going to shout it out right now. But these are from Alfred Page, and I'm going to show you. We've got a cool variant too. These are signed copies that he gave us for the show of the new Blowtorch book. Which is actually Alien Passage, and it is crazy. If you read Blowtorch Road, this is another world of Blowtorches, another adventure for Blowtorch, but he is teaming up with another character named Pinpoint in this. And what's cool is that Alfred also hooked us up with Pinpoint's book in trade paperback format, also signed, so it's really cool. These are released through Comicsburg, which is a Pittsburgh-based publishing company that we love to talk about here, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Alfred, for hooking me up with these. You best believe that I already read them and was super excited to have them, and thank you so much. Thanks for signing them for us. I'm going to slide these over here so they don't get mixed up. And, it wouldn't be Bat City if I was just like, oh my gosh, we had all these great and wonderful things and now we're done. No, we've got to have more things on the horizon coming for you soon. And this week is another big one because we are going to be out at SiestaCon this Saturday, May 11th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. It is $10 for adults and absolutely free for children to attend this new con down in Sarasota at the Robarts Arena. It's put on by our good friends over at the Dark Side Comics and Gaming Store in Sarasota in partnership with so many cool friends. I'm so excited that we're going to be there. Our friends at Descent are going to be there. There's going to be so many creators. There's going to be celebrities. There's going to be voice actors. There's going to be all kinds of vendors. I have so many vendors that we know that have already been like, oh, I'm going to be there. Are you going to be there? There's going to be panels, which I will be running all the panels. So come by and see them. They're amazing. There's going to be a cosplay contest for kids, a cosplay contest for adults. There's fun activities all day long. There's an entire tent of demos for board games and card games. So you're not going to want to miss this. It's fun. And again, $10 for adults, and kids are free. And craziest thing of them all, the parking is also free, and there is an abundance of it. You're not going to have to wonder where you're going to park. You're not going to be like, if I don't get there early, I don't get a parking spot. No, there is parking. You can get there. It is free parking. You're only going to pay $10 to get in. And if you're hungry while you're there, all the food's under $10 too. So it's a great time to have a con in our own backyard. It's next Saturday. Bring the whole family. It's going to be a blast. And we've got a ton of events coming up after that for the rest of the month. We'll talk about them more over the course of the week. You can check our Facebook. All of our things are on there, including our launch of our Slam Academy, which is our college level courses for kids and teens in art and writing. If you are looking to have, if like your kid enroll in some summer camp classes this summer, they're going to be afternoons on Saturdays. There's information on our Facebook for each and every one. There's a little course description to let you know what's happening, a Google form to sign up your kid and get them enrolled. So come out for Slam Academy. It's going to be a blast. But since we're talking about our kid creators and how wonderful they are, this month we are launching our new sticker, and I have got to show this off. This is the new Bat City sticker that you get at the register. Just remember to ask for the new Bat City sticker, though Matt and I will probably throw it at you anyway. And this was designed by one of our kid comic creators who works with, takes our workshop all the time, works with us on all kinds of cool things. We love him so much. This is done by Noah Stanley, and he has signed it with his Noah Stanley, is it Noah Enterprises on this one? Yes, this is by Noah Enterprises, which is his official comic company. And this is the design he made for us. So you can pick up one of these stickers every time you stop in at Bad City. Make sure you ask for the sticker of the month because we've got some cool ones. And this is a good one from Noah. Thank you so much, Noah, for that design. All right. We're going to talk about some comics, and I'm going to go through not only this week's big new releases, but I'm going to go through a lot of the Free Comic Book Day issues that you want to check out. So we're going to wrap through a lot of these really quickly just to get us to everything, and we're going to kick it off with What's the Furthest Place from Here, issue 18 from Image Comics. And every time I think that Matthew Rosenberg and Tyler Boss are wrapping up this comic, they just open up a whole new can of worms. And so I'm going to show you this. We've been following this for the last 18 issues, and the story of Sid, who is one of the kids who lives in this post-apocalyptic world where only kids seem to be around. Anybody over 18 goes missing. They never come back, and they're told that there's a sickness and that they'll become, something terrible when they hit adulthood. And Sid felt like she was sick and that something was happening to her, and she knew she was getting older. So in the very first issue, she leaves, and we followed her friends for 2 arcs as they attempted to find Sid. Well, as people in a non-post-apocalyptic world, we knew that Sid was pregnant, and that was what she was feeling, and it wasn't a sickness. Now we have figured out what happens when you have a baby in this world, something that none of them were prepared for, and Sid is having to come to terms with the fact that, everything that they've ever been told is a lie. There's a whole mass hierarchy of how they're training these kids by essentially throwing them out into a dangerous world, saying that it's a post-apocalyptic world. There's so much that's unfolding in these issues, and we are going to see how Sid handles that information, how she shares it, and whether or not they can get past the strangers that have always been the looming evil ahead of them. Again, I thought I was going to get to the end of this and that Matthew Rosenberg and Tyler Boss were going to be like, and that's the end of the story. Thanks for joining us. And they don't. They will not let it in. They keep it going, and they keep you on the edge of your seat with every cliffhanger every time. We've got Kaya, issue 18, also from Image Comics, and this is Wes Craig, who's writing and doing the art, and he worked on Deadly Class and Gravediggers Union previously, and telling one of the most fantastical all-ages story that's really just bringing about this massive universe, and yet doing it in such an intricate way that you don't even notice that he's world building while he's doing it. But this is the story of Kaya, who believed herself for a long time to be the chosen one, only to find out that the chosen one was actually her brother, and she is the warrior meant to protect him after all of their family is destroyed. And so they've been on a journey over the last 18 issues to get to the spirit guides who can teach her brother how to use the magic that is supposed to save the entire world. But of course, everywhere they go, destruction and danger follows. And this last arc, which seems to be wrapping up in this issue for the most part, they have been working with a princess and her spirit guides themselves, trying to figure out how to get her back to her family so that they can earn safe passage on a boat that would take them right to where they need to go. But of course, nothing has ever gone right for Kaya and Jin, and as they try to help people, they end up almost always inflicting more harm than good, which is really starting to weigh on Jin on whether or not he is actually the chosen one, and Kaya on whether or not she's actually a good leader. It is always a beautiful sibling story, but it is also just a great fantasy story for those of you who are looking for one. And it's a great all-ages story that you can share with people of any age for sure. We've got Ghost Lore issue 10 from Boom Studios, setting us up on some big changes coming our way in the next issue for sure. If you have not been reading Ghost Lore, it started out with a father and daughter who were kind of at odds with each other, and they end up in a car accident, and some big changes happen, including their ability to suddenly see ghosts. And they have this ultimate responsibility where they find that it's up to them to listen to ghost stories and release these ghosts. But the dad, who has become very embittered, does not want to actually release the ghosts. He doesn't want to let them free, and so they end up at odds. The daughter goes out on her own. She meets some more people who can talk to ghosts, and we find out that there is a very, very dark storm a-brewing between ghosts and humans who don't use ghosts properly, and we are seeing them kind of at the nexus point of this storm, and whether or not they can come together and learn to actually balance each other out and balance out this problem with the ghosts or not is going to really be the key to whether or not they succeed or fall in this upcoming battle that's coming their way. We've got Guma, the beginning of her, issue 6, and this is from Titan Comics. And this is such a interesting story and how it's like built up, because in the very first couple of issues it was kind of really leaning on the art, being that it is done by Jiang Li, who is an artist, but now we're actually starting to see more and more of the story unravel in narrative format, which has kind of worked really well for the build of this story. But it started out with a woman who was in a brothel and was kind of owned by a mobster, and she had a baby and she was trying to get out, so buy her way out of this place so that she could take her baby and be free. Well, he claimed the baby for himself and also didn't really set her free in the way that she thought she was going to be. And now we have a woman who has been scorned, who is now ruling over the world with what she calls her exorcist, and she is using her dark magic to just kind of destroy anybody that goes against her. And this is been a battle of nobody able to stop her, and we had a detective who was like, there is an ancient relic that is good and it'll stop her and all of her demon powers. And in this issue we find out what the secret to that really is, and we are also building between a battle of long lost mother and daughter to come, and I believe we're going to see a lot of that in issue 7, because we have set up that there is nowhere else to go but to each other. And so the tension has mounted, and we are going to see how this plays out for these two women as the time comes. We've got Crave, issue 6 from Image Comics, and this is the wrap-up of Crave. Question mark, could keep going, could build us a second volume someday, but of course it is definitely that teaser open ending that they are trying to give us, because, you know, nothing is ever really solved when you're going against an evil computer entity kind of situation. But if you have not read Crave yet, this is the story of a bunch of college students who are given an app, and they are told that their university is essentially the test place for this app, and it asks you, what do you crave, and it tells you that it'll give you anything and everything that your heart desires, unless there's no probability of it happening at all, which leads to some very, very distraught college students. But we have been following two people who kind of watched their relationships fall apart, and now are at the nexus of this like destruction that is happening at this university, and all because one of the boys' roommates was the guy who has been working on this app and is like, hey, you have to destroy it, it's evil, don't use it, people will die, and people have died and bad things have happened, and now so they are trying to destroy this app before it is absolutely too late, as well as maybe save some of the people that they've hurt in the wake of what they've wished for with the Crave app. And so we're going to see in this issue whether or not they are able to actually pull it all together and pull it off, and what happens to Crave when the beta test is completed. Like, are they going to roll it out? Is it going to keep going? Are we going to see more books from Maria Levitt on this subject? Don't know what we'll see, but you're definitely going to find out what happens with this group by the end of this issue. We've got Negaduck, issue 5 from Dynamite, and this is part of our Darkwing Duck universe that's been built out at Dynamite, and I just want to say that again because my like child heart is so happy to say the Darkwing Duck universe in comics has been built out. Negaduck, the ultimate villain in the Darkwing Duck universe, has his own title now, and he has been just trying to reestablish himself as the greatest villain. But if you know Darkwing Duck and you know Negaduck, you know that he is not good at that. He's not actually the greatest villain. He just really wants to be. And in this issue, he has gone on an adventure and he has tackled all of the obstacles and he has found the treasure that he's wanted, only to have it stolen by a bird. And that bird ends up bringing him a puzzle box. And now Negaduck is trying to solve this puzzle to see where it's going to take him without putting any thought into actually whether or not it's a bad idea to follow along this puzzle. But he finds out that there may be a chance for him to elevate his criminal career, and he has to make some choices coming up soon. I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited for Negaduck to have to face himself and to find out also that he is never really the biggest villain, but he always thinks he is because he's the leader of like their, fabulous five that they have. We're going to see where that goes for him in the future. And if you're a Darkwing Duck fan, seriously, there's 3 Darkwing Duck titles at Dynamite right now, which is insane, and you should be reading them all. Godzilla War for Humanity issue 5 from IDW, and this is our wrap-up of Godzilla War for Humanity. At least for now, I think we should have more Godzilla War for Humanity because this art is cool and this book is awesome. But we have more Godzilla books coming our way, don't you worry. But if you haven't read Godzilla War for Humanity yet, this is all about a woman who is a scientist who believes that Godzilla is our protector and is always trying to prove that. Only for a kaiju called Zoospora to attack the world and kind of take control of all of the other kaiju's minds. And Godzilla does not come because he knows that Zoospora can control anybody's mind that gets too close to it, and he doesn't want to be a part of it, and he's trying to save baby Godzilla from having any problems. And so they end up kidnapping Manila and bringing him over so that Godzilla will come for his baby, only to endanger everybody. Godzilla, Manila, themselves, the world. And so in this issue, we are seeing them kind of have to figure out like what is going on. I love this. What is actually going on and how to actually stop Zoospora before it is entirely too late, and whether or not Godzilla will remain on their side and be able to help them out. We're going to see. I love this series. It's just so much fun. And as always with the Godzilla story, it has an excellent human story that relates to what Godzilla is doing, which is what makes Godzilla movies and stories so wonderful, is that the human element and the kaiju element work in tandem to create a story that is worth viewing and or reading. I'm going to take another drink really fast. We are drinking Tassajara Pinot Noir. That's nice. Nice cherry flavor. I didn't think that I liked cherries very much. Because like if you make a mixed drink and you put like actual cherries in it, I'm never a fan of it. And like I don't like cherry pie or cherry things. But for some reason in wines they're delicious. I don't know if it's the fermentation of the cherries that makes them taste good, but
we should try it with cherry pie.
We should try it with cherry pie. Maybe I like cherry pie now. It's been 7 years. Maybe my taste buds have changed.
Wine pie.
Wine pie. That should be a thing. I'm sure it is somewhere. Up next, we've got Basic Instinct issue 4 from Sumerian, and this is the wrap-up of Basic Instinct. All of these Sumerian movie books have been about 4 issues so far, and so if you are a fan of Basic Instinct, this is kind of much like American Psycho, a different look at the characters, a different story, and we've been following a man who is an artist who has been wrapped up in some murders, and he, as far as he knows, has nothing to do with them and hasn't actually been murdering anybody, but he is getting blamed for all of them. And we find out that the connecting point to all of this, I believe it was in issue 2, was our Sharon Stone kind of character from Basic Instinct. And he is figuring out how she is manipulating and controlling his life and who she is and what it is that she's doing. And at this point, he's trying to prove this to a detective who's like, okay, well, we'll go in together because I need you to get me to her anyway. And so in this last issue, we've got our final showdowns with all of the different characters coming together. So I don't want to show you too much, but if you are a fan of Basic Instinct, this is a great book to just kind of go with your universe and expand it. Speaking of expanding your movie universes with Sumerian, we've got The Fog, issue 3 from Sumerian. If you are a fan of the John Carpenter movie The Fog, you should be reading this book 100%. It feels very much just like watching the movie. But we have come back to the island, and we've got a group of podcasters, and this is in the now. So if you know The Fog, you know that there was like a pirate ship essentially that had some problems, and they haunted the island area of this town, and they've like been trying to attack people for hundreds of years. And then in the movie, they came about and they attacked the people, and the people had some problems. Everybody died kind of situation. And now this is the people who didn't die, like their grandchildren and their children, and now they're being impacted by the fog once more. And we are finding out that it might not just be the people of the pirate ship in the fog anymore, and there might be more to come. And I'm going to show you this because, seriously, if you're a fan of the fog, you definitely need to read this. It's kind of cool because it's like a sequel, which all of the other ones haven't been. Like American Psycho was kind of an alternate version of the story, like seeing it from the other person's point of view. Basic Instinct's kind of like a completely later, unrelated kind of piece of the puzzle. And this is really like a sequel to all of what the mystery and the lore of the fog so far. So if you're a fan of the fog, you're literally getting, like, they're talking about like, oh, remember when this happened? Oh, remember when this happened back in like this year? And it's like, oh, that's the year the fog came out. Got it. I see what you did there. So they're really like basing it in that lore. They're not trying to make it something different. They're actually just trying to keep you right in line with it. And we're going to see where it goes. Speaking of things keeping right in line with the lore, we've got Lilo and Stitch issue 3 from Disney's imprint at Dynamite, which is still a very strange thing to say. But for all of you Lilo and Stitch fans, oh my gosh, just read this book because it's so cute. This is all about some people, as always, coming to try to steal Stitch and call him dangerous and take him back because they're always trying to steal Experiment 626 and say he's evil. And we know that Stitch isn't. We know he loves Lilo. We know he's happy in his Ohana. And they come for him and they take him. And in issue 1, he gets away and lands in crash lands in New York. And in issue 2, we see Stitch in New York. And now Stitch has crash landed in Australia and is in Australia and is like, I have to stay away from Lilo so I can keep my Ohana safe. I don't want to cause any problems. And in this one, he learns that he also has to face responsibilities for things that he does, and that being a part of a family also means being a part of responsibility. And he's learning how to take that lesson that he's heard from Nani before and really apply it, and learning that sometimes that the responsibility to keep your family safe doesn't mean running away, but maybe it means heading home. Is he going to do that? Not just yet, but if you want something adorable and wonderful and you're a Lilo and Stitch fan, it's perfect. Everybody's in it. It's wonderful. Neurocron, issue 3 from Invader Comics. This is one of those books that's kind of flying under the radar with a really good story. This is all about a woman who is a detective in a time where we've started putting bio implants in to adjust ourselves that are super, like, essentially tech implants. You can do a bunch of different things. We got to the point where we went too far, and now they've already started putting in restrictions. Of course, tech companies are doing all kinds of illegal experiments, and people are coming up with like street-based tech added into them. And so a man is murdered, and everybody thinks, oh, it's just like a person off the street. You don't need to really worry about it. But she realizes there's something else, and so this detective has started investigating. And of course, she's pulled on all the wrong strings and all the right strings for her investigation, and has now has everybody in the world mad at her. The governor's mad at her, and she's an FBI agent, but it's like the national people are mad at her. She's got the big tech companies, all of them mad at her because they're all working together. That's a spoiler. I'm not going to show that. They're all working together in different ways to make, bad tech happen. And every time she solves something else, of course, a new person comes after her. This is a really great detective story. It's really interesting to see like that futuristic Running Man kind of situation, a Total Recall even, like where we're like building out these futuristic worlds and we almost like really destroy ourselves in the process, and yet, like, how much power do we give big tech to control us? And how much is corporate America actually running everything, and everybody else kind of just supposed to turn the other cheek when they do something bad? Great book, you should check it out. We've got Minor Threats, The Fastest Way Down, issue 2 from Dark Horse and Patton Oswalt. And for those of you who haven't read Minor Threats, you probably need to jump into this. But the good thing is that Minor Threats is in trade paperback format, so you can read it. In the aftermath of Minor Threats, which is all about villains who have to save the day because the superheroes have two superheroes have been killed, essentially, like the Batman and Robin, and everybody is blaming another superhero, so the villains have to be the ones to step up, the minor villains at that, and save the day. In that aftermath, our main villain, Plaything, has taken over, and she is now the criminal lord of all things, and she's trying to just keep peace in the city, and everybody expects her to do that. But her partner in everything, Dr. Scalpel, is not believing that she's understanding that her role now is to actually be the face of the situation and to actually just maintain peace through paperwork, essentially, and not through robbing and thieving. But we've got some young heroes that are up and coming who don't have any limits, who are just trying to figure out what the truth of the matter actually was and what really went down, and they are willing to kill, maim, and destroy anything that gets in their path. And we are going to see how these two groups come together, because now our villains are kind of the heroes and our heroes are kind of the villains. And so if you want to check it out, this is going to be a book that is definitely a more positive version of something like The Boys, where you had all the dark heroes and all the like, wow, how far are they going to push this? You're going to get that, but you're going to get it in a little bit more, a little less much, as The Boys often was. This is kind of like your cleaner version, but yet still hyper-violent and dark. All right, we've got a lot of books launching this week. We've got The Return of the Trident of Aurelia. This is issue 1 of The Storm, the second volume of Trident of Aurelia from BattleQuest Comics. This is another one. You need to read the first part to understand what's going on. But if you don't, they do a fantastic job of recapping kind of what happened, which is that our main character, Oriana, who was a young girl living on an island type community where they sacrificed young girls to the sea, and they were like, oh, you're going to marry the god of the Red Sea, and you're going to live there, and you're going to have this experience, and it keeps the peace, and it's the only reason we've been safe all these years. And they attempt to sacrifice Oriana in the first book, and when she falls into the water, which is the first time she's ever been into it, because of course it's dangerous, is what they've been taught, we find out that she is actually the daughter of the queen of the mermaids, and she has this mermaid power that she didn't know about, and now she is the queen of not only the sea, but of the realm that she is, the island that she is from, and now she's ruling it and keeping it safe with her mermaid cabinet, essentially. And they each have the role that they play. She has a sorceress, a knight, a strategist, and an interpreter. And in this volume, a group of people come from another kingdom, and the empress and all of her refugees are with her, and they say they're being attacked, and somebody must stand up and help them. And so Ariana and her people are like, we will do it. And they're like, you won't be able to defeat this person alone. And she's like, we won't be alone. And so they are going around and finding all these other essentially mythical creature type things to help them in this battle that is coming their way. It's fantastic. It's gonna be great. We don't have enough mermaid books in our lives, so the fact that we have a mermaid book that keeps going, and I have talked to the creative team from BattleQuest on this book, and they keep saying it just gets bigger and bigger, and the world just keeps exploding as the story goes on. So I'm excited to see where this goes. We've got Space Ghost, issue 1 from Dynamite. All of you cartoon lovers who have been like, I'm loving that all of my favorite cartoons are coming back. Guess what? Now Space Ghost is back in comic form too. And if you don't know Space Ghost, he's a vigilante in space that's essentially moves like a ghost. He's always very funny, on the Space Ghost Coast to Coast, his little talk show, but in this he is not he's not cracking jokes. He's actually trying to save some kids who are a part of a research lab in space. Their father was the researcher, and people have found out that their dad has created a certain amount of tech that they all need, and they're like, everybody is coming for all these different people, and they think that Space Ghost is yet another one, but he is on this ship trying to save them from all these different people. And whether or not Space Ghost can save the kids, whether or not the kids will believe him and team up with him, whether or not, I don't want to show you ending, whether or not this tech takes us anywhere good, we're gonna find out. It's kind of it's definitely a start point. You don't have to know anything else about Space Ghost. There's a little blurb at the beginning to kind of give you some insight, and then you can kind of just jump into this book. This is an all new jumping in point for fans to become fans of Space Ghost. We've got Mezzo, The Trial of Rodin, issue 1, and this is from Away Blue World. This is another one that we are probably, I think, 3 volumes in on. But this is got one of the best story so far blurbs that I've ever had on what is going on, because not only do they give it to us in the interior page, with the information, but then they also give us 3 pages of that in comic format. So it's like, hey, if you didn't read that Impresium where we explained to you what was going on, we're going to explain it to you again in comic format, but in a different way, without just giving you an info dump. And so basically they go back to the day of the rupture, and they kind of explain what happened and what a rupture is and why it happened, which is essentially because we are following a Mesoamerican tribe who lives on a volcanic area, and throughout the course of the last 11 issues, which is how far we are actually in Mezzo, the volcano erupted and bad things happened, and now stuff is, we've got all kinds of different places and people at war. And over those last 10 issues, we had a character named Rodin who was kind of like the hero of war, who made a decision that has now branded him a traitor. And so they are bringing him back in this volume to have a trial for him, because they're like, we even though we were at peace at the time, the decision you made still seems very treacherous to the crown, and we are going to figure out whether or not you really are a bad guy or not. And in this issue, we also follow the princess, who makes the choice to go out and kind of talk to Rodin's family and see what's happening, kind of doing her own investigation prior to it. And I think she's going to find out some secrets on her own, definitely, as this goes over, to hopefully maybe be the one that saves him, because we know him as the good guy and we know that he didn't do anything wrong. And so we're going to see where this goes. If you haven't read it yet, you should definitely grab you should grab Mezzo from Away Blue World. It's really good. And our awesome friend Chris Sheehan did this cover. I'm really excited about Chris doing. They're gonna be doing covers for all of the cover B for all of Mezzo, I believe, are gonna be Chris Sheehan covers, which I'm really excited about. And it is also I already showed you the inside, so I guess I don't need to show you. I was going to show you again. It's also written by our friend Tyler, who is in charge of Away Blue World. This is one of Tyler's books, so it's him and who writes it with him? Jared Luan, who writes it with him. So if you haven't read it yet, support small presses, support Away Blue World. They're fantastic. They do really, really, really great books, really great quality. Check this book out. And it's such a fantastic one. If you're like a history teacher who teaches Mesoamerican culture, honestly, just grab this book in its entirety and get into it with your students. We've got RoboForce, issue 1 from Oni Press and the Nacelle Universe. If you don't know the Nacelle Universe, that is your, I'm going to not name them all, RoboForce, Power Lords, Sectars, Biker Vice from Mars, Cowboys of Moo Mesa, The Great Garlu. I was like, he's even in this issue, and I still left him out. So if you need to relive your 80s cartoons, again, this is the time of your life. But in RoboForce, we find out that the robos of RoboForce were made for the betterment of humanity. They were supposed to do all kinds of things that, from keeping people safe crossing the street to just alleviating, toxic waste, to doing all kinds of stuff. And basically, by the time they were created, big giant robots were already obsolete. We had figured out tech to do all of those things. And so their creator has gone into hiding, and she won't come out because she feels like she's failed not only her robots, but also humanity by not being able to do that. And so our characters of the Robo Force have gone on to find their own jobs, but one of them, of course, is like, I feel like it's my responsibility to make sure our creator is in good hands and that there's nothing wrong with her. And we kind of just get an introduction to all the Robos in this and the history of the Robo Force. And honestly, I saw Robo Force was one of the options, and I was like, I don't know what the heck Robo Force is. And I was a kid in the 80s and the 90s, and I feel like I've never heard of Robo Force. And then I started reading it, and they named all the robots, and I was like, oh my god, I know who Robo Force is. I had no idea. And so once they named all the different bots, I was like, oh, those are from that show. So if you grew up in the 80s, you might have a little more knowledge of this than you think you do, but I know there's a lot of people who are really excited about it, and even if you don't know them, this is a really good, I think this is going to be probably the most accessible jumping in point for the Nacelleverse, because we are in a world where like Transformers are really big again, and so this is a great all ages like jump in point. I believe they call them teen books, but yeah, I think right now as of issue 1, like anybody could read it who's reading Transformers and find an excitement with this. So you know, cartoon fans, be excited, and fans of giant robots doing cool things, you should also be excited. Bristlemouth, A Cave of Horror from IPI Comics. This is issue 2, which is in the wrong spot, and I told myself to move this book because I read it late. But here it is. It's still in the wrong spot. Sorry about that, everybody. I know I'm the only one that cares that the books count down in order, but it's still there. This is the story of a group of nurses who have decided to go out on a vacation because one of them lost a patient that she was helping, and she is taking it extremely too hard, and so she also lost like her relationship and everything else, and so they're like, we need to get you out of here, you need to go on a trip. But these people who are friends at work are finding that they're not necessarily the best of friends like outside of work. Like one of them's an alcoholic and he's kind of a mean drunk. The other ones are a couple and they kind of just don't really agree with everything. One of them is like super into like vegan culture and you know, they call her the hippie lifestyle. And then we've got the girl who's sad, and they're all kind of at each other's throats already at the end of issue 1. It's their first night of camping, and now they're really having some problems because while they're sitting there enjoying arguing with each other and not getting along in any capacity, something comes out of the woods and starts really messing up their camping trip and devouring their experience in the worst way possible. If you just want a classic B-movie horror story that has weird, obscure art that makes it even crazier, because you're like trying to like look in it to find all the details of what's actually happening. You're like, ooh, this thing is weird and shifty. What is it? And as you're staring at it, it gets like creepier and creepier for the story. Really great job on this. This is, like I said, it's like watching an older horror movie unfold before you. And we're going to see if anybody makes it out alive. All right, the next two things go together, so I'm going to hold them up, and I'm going to do it this way so I can get this right. Chip Zdarsky decided to launch a sequel to the White Tree series, so we have what is called The Whisper Queen launching this week, but Chip Zdarsky knows it's been way too long, so what they did at Image and with Chip Zdarsky is they actually launched this is all 3 issues of the White Tree series in one single book. And so if you never read White Trees and you're like, oh, it looks really cool that Chip Zdarsky's got a new book and that cover looks awesome and I want to know what it is, but I don't know what it is, guess what? They made it easy for you, because for the low price of $5.99, you get all 3 issues of the entire White Tree series to get you started, and then you can jump into the new one. So I'm not going to talk about the inside of White Trees. I am going to talk about the inside of The Whisper Queen, because this is the actual new book. And this is, I'm going to start first of all because I love a good map. So in the White Trees, we saw 3 people who were warriors get called together by the king, and the king told them that their children had been stolen by another empire, and he couldn't go in and fight he couldn't go in and get the kids back for them or fight for them because they were on the brink of war. And so, but they could all go in and save their own kids and, you know, maybe take out some of the bad guys in the process. Well, they did. exactly that. These three warriors who had used to fight together, who hated each other now, went in and fought for their kids, found out what actually happened with their children, and returned to the king with that information and things that happened. Now there is with the sequel, what we are picking up with is we have some people who are on the run from volume 1, and they need to be discovered quickly, and so the king's men have sent out the Whisper Queen, who is supposed to be like this massive, like, if that's the worst, like nobody believes she's real, everybody thinks that she is like a urban legend of a woman who can find anybody and destroy them. And so now a woman and her like former compatriot and that woman's daughter have now got to go out and try to stop the Whisper Queen from getting not only to those people, but to the one woman's son who has been sent out to be a part of this entourage with the Whisper Queen, who she knows is way too dangerous. If you're a fantasy fan, it's great. If you're a Chip Zdarsky fan, it doesn't matter what he writes, you know it's great. And this is, again, it's awesome because The White Trees was only one series. It is a highly renowned, loved series, and the fact that they reprinted all 3 issues in one book, and then the new one came out on the same day, so you can just get 4 issues at one time and get started, is a great way to do it, and you should dive in. Speaking of things you absolutely need to dive into, Bear Pirate Viking Queen issue 1 is out this week. I remember when I saw the solicit for this come in, and I was like, Bear Pirate Viking Queen, what is that? And I literally had somebody go, don't care, I want it, whatever it is when it comes out. And they made a right call, because this is such a cool book. This is all about a pirate who essentially has a bear spirit within him, possibly around him. Who knows if it's real? It's kind of like in his head. It's basically the violence inside of him essentially might be this bear, but we see the bear. We see it everywhere. So it's like, ooh, is it real or is it metaphorical? But this is about a pirate, and we see him trying to steal a ship that is, I love this page so much. Steal a ship that is the one with all of the money for the queen. He's like, we're going to steal the queen's treasury ship. We're going to go after it. And in the process of doing that, he's pretty successful. He's a pretty good pirate. But if we've ever learned anything about pirates, is that when you're a good pirate, there's always a better pirate. And usually that better pirate is some kind of like creepy, supernatural, crazy thing. And we're going to see just that coming this man's way. And whatever he tries to do in this incredibly awesome double-sized issue, we see it kind of we crumble around him. And sometimes it works and it's like, oh, this was good, I did a good job. And then like 2 seconds later, he like turns around and it's like, nothing was good. I did nothing. I'm terrible. Like, it's such an interesting book, such fantastic watercolored art. So it just feels like you're staring into long lost documents telling you the story of a pirate. Like, it's like you could have printed this out at sea and painted it and put it together and then brought it, like it threw a message in a bottle, and I'm reading this story. But we are setting up some big adventures coming our way from the Bear Pirate Viking Queen, and I cannot wait to see where this goes in the future. Big story unfolding. Lesser of the Lesser Gods from Dark Horse. This is issue 1, and this is the sequel to the one-shot Lesser of the Lesser Gods coming your way. And this is Eric Powell, who does the Goon, and this is all about, I mean, essentially it's like having a Jack Black comic book. Is kind of who Lester kind of really feels like. But he is a guy who found out that he was the son of Odin, and he does not, like, he has the immortality essentially and the strength and the power, but he doesn't have any of the class or any of the just common sense. And so in this issue, he is we are seeing the story of how he met Cat the Destroyer, who he calls Kathy Stroyer because he's an idiot and can't ever get her name right, and how he was trying to save her, but of course, like, causes more problems than good, and the adventures that they are going to have that are going to unfurl out of this. This is, it's ridiculous in so many ways, but it's one of those, like, if you like hilarity, like, this is a book that you need to read. Like, Lester is literally, it's like watching a Jack Black movie. He's a guy who doesn't understand that he's not doing anything right, who thinks he's funny in every way, who's dealing with enemies that he's basically created and yet doesn't realize he's created them, and all the while he just thinks he's like the son of Odin and this magical being, and he's just supposed to be helping people. So he's really got like this heart where he's trying to help people, but he's like a former like burnout who found out that he was the son of a god and got all these powers, and so he's kind of still just like a burnout who's like, yeah, man, like, whatever. Let's talk about how that bad guy is like a total jerk, and with other words and funny things. So anyway, if you want to laugh, if you need something lighthearted, Lesser of the Lesser Gods is going to give you that and all of its Eric Powell goodness. We have Berserker back. Not Berserker back. That is not what that says. We have Barbaric back. It looks like it's an homage to the cover. Yes, it's an homage to the Berserk cover. So my brain just immediately went to the wrong thing. But we have Barbaric. This is Born in Blood. This is the new volume. If you know Barbaric, you know that they come out in volumes of 3 issues. And this is a cool jumping in point for this. They actually gave out another shout out to Vault. This was Vault's newest free issue. They kind of do one a quarter. We had them out on our free comic book day table. If you did not get one, we still have a couple left for you to check it out because it is a great point. They actually start out with Axe, who is the talking axe, who is the weapon of Owen, who is our barbarian. And he is drunk and has a hangover and is like, I don't remember anything. Why am I here? And it's like, oh, let me tell you. And he's like, I don't remember that. And so basically they use that as a way to give us the entire history of what has happened in all of the Barbaric volumes in a really funny way, only to have us have to go on yet another adventure with our team, our original team, which is Owen the Barbarian, Soren the Witch, and Axe, the talking weapon, who Owen is cursed to carry, and one of our newest friends who makes all kinds of terrible decisions, our vampire, and they go into try to handle things in the appropriate way, only to just kind of destroy things at every turn, and Owen is trying to kill some people just because he doesn't like them and they're liars, and he's not allowed to do that. And they have come face to face with an old friend who no longer wants to be associated with them and has maybe turned his ways. And we are going to see just how far Owen can push the curse that is on him, and whether or not they are going to be able to stop some of these bad guys that are coming their way. Honestly, Barbaric is just a great book for people who are sword and sorcery fans. If you want to laugh a little bit, you need just enough humor to make your sword and sorcery work. Barbaric is always fantastic for that. And honestly, like I said, this issue, this cover you have to pay for, but the regular issue cover is actually free right now at Bat City, and so you should come and grab it and enjoy jumping into Barbaric, because it is one of the big titles that you got to check out from Vault for sure. We've got a new one launching from Distillery. We've got the Blood Brothers Mother, issue 1 from Brian Azzarello. I'm going to flip this out so you can see the whole wraparound of the cover. And this is, the thing about Distillery books is they're so cinematic because they are done in this oversized issue thing. But we have a story of a guy, and we're actually like the kid that's telling the story is like, this is my story, but it's not really my story, because you got to hear the story of my father first. And so we're following the story of a prisoner who is set free in the Old West, and he is like, I don't care about anything. The only thing I want is I want to find my woman. I loved her. I will claim her back. She will be mine. And they're like, hey, by the way, while you were in jail, she married somebody else. And she's got all these kids. And he's like, are they my kids? And they're like, we don't know anything about your kids. We don't know what you got into. We don't even know why you need to go back to this woman. Like, you just got to prison. Can't we go and, like, rob some freight trains or something? And he's like, nope, only going for my girl. And so he has to chase down the family, like, find the family where his love of his life, so he claims, is. And it turns out she's married to a preacher in a small town, and they are living like this perfect, quaint little life. And she's got nobody knows that she is connected to this prisoner, and he shows up, this bank robber-esque type guy, to reclaim his life, and these kids are witness to everything that goes down, and it kind of is the birth of some blood brothers, so to speak. This is going to be, for fans of classic westerns and things like that, this is definitely going to be a good one. And I'll show you a little bit of the attack they have, but this is definitely going to be a good one. Brian Azzarello is just, this is his wheelhouse. He's good at telling these kinds of stories, and I think he's definitely going to bring a really cool one. And Eduardo Rizzo's art on this just looks like the perfect old western kind of watercolory-esque title. So check it out. Distillery has yet to steer me wrong, and most of you would say the same, so jump in. All right, I've got a couple picks of the week, and it's going to bridge into my free comic book day books, because I do have free comic book day picks of the week as well. So this one, honestly, I was just looking for something really fun and lighthearted this week after all the work we put into free comic book day, and Oni Press brought it with Toxic Summer #1. This is a double-sized special issue that is just honestly filled with great, lighthearted, fun comedy horror. I love comedy horror, Shaun of the Dead being one of my favorite comedy horror movies, and I can watch it all the time, every time. And this kind of is going to feel like that, but with some younger characters. This is about 2 teenage boys who are so excited because they're going to go spend the summer with the one kid's grandma, and all he remembers is that spring break, summer camp kind of or summertime there is like a giant party, and he's like, oh, it's going to be so great, it's going to be amazing. And then they get there, and the sign on the beach says that a toxic spill has happened and there will be no summer. But because they signed up to work at the beach for the summer because they wanted to see all the people partying and be a part of it, they're now in charge of cleanup duty, and they can't bail on it because that's the only reason they were allowed to go. And so these kids are like, oh my god, and what happened? Like, how are we supposed to have a good summer now? And the guy's like, well, if you clean up the beach, the sooner the beach gets cleaned, maybe they'll reopen it. And the kids are like, fantastic, we're going to work all day and all night. And maybe we'll also find other hot teen summer kind of thing, these college students, these other people that we can hang out with. And there are in fact other young people that they could hang out with, but it's not really working so well. And everybody's kind of just trying to find out whether or not there's going to be fun for the summer. But there is creepy people coming out of the ocean. There's sludge, there's slime. There may be some monsters coming your way. It's just fun, and it has all the heart that an Oni Press book is usually bound to bring you, but with that comedy horror stuff rolled into it. Again, it's a double issue, so you get to see a lot of story right away, and it's fantastic and just great to jump into.
Age range?
It's probably going to be teen plus. I think they have it labeled teen plus. That Oni Press doesn't label their books. Most people don't. I would honestly say that I would not give it to a kid. They are kind of college age students, and they are kind of it's hey, we want to go out and party all summer, so it's probably going to be closer to that age range than it would. I know it looks a little young on the cover, but don't be fooled. I think it's going to be a little more on the adult side. Something that is on the younger side that you can share with everybody is Ranger Academy, which will always be a book that I love. And this is issue 7, and this is from Boom Studios and I believe the Boombox imprint, because it is the teen version of the Power Rangers. But I always preface this when I say that I love this book with, I am not a Power Rangers fan. I obviously saw the show when I was younger. I also saw the movie and everything with that ridiculous Ivan Ooze character, but I didn't see anything after that. And so this has been so great for me, because this is a perfect young adult novel done in a realm of something that's slightly familiar, but yet completely new to me at all times. And this is about a girl who lived out on a random moon that was abandoned with just her dad. And one day, some kids in Ranger Academy, learning to be Power Rangers, crash land there. She ends up meeting them. They like sneak her back to Ranger Academy, where she gets to finally train to become a ranger. Something that sounds super cool, but she actually knows nothing about. Like, she's like, I don't know what this is. It's just an experience that I've never been able to have. And over the last 7 issues, she's gone through some trials and tribulations trying to figure it out, like what she's supposed to be, what she's supposed to be doing. And we learned that like each student goes through a trial to see if they are going, like, to get their morpher and figure out what they are. But in this world, there's a certain group of Power Rangers that have been dismantled and that we aren't seeing ever again. And it's supposed to be dark and dangerous and we don't want them. And she essentially finds out that she may be connected to that, and so now she's really scared that she's going to become one of those rangers and that maybe she's going to be the destruction of all of her new friends and everybody in the universe. And over the last issue and this issue, we have learned about a little bit more of that lore and what happened, but we also learned that the thing that happened was kind of just covered up by everybody, and so now danger is lurking. Something bad is coming. We have these Power Rangers that show up that are like, we are here to protect you, because if we don't, like, you're in grave danger, even at the school. Like, but don't worry, because we're here to protect you. It's got a very, like, Witch Hat Atelier, like Harry Potter, Percy Jackson kind of feel to it, bringing all of that kind of lore into the Power Rangers lore and blending it together for an absolutely great story. And the heart is so incredible, and I love all these characters. This is one of those books where when I close it, I wonder what they kept doing after, like, the page ended. Like, I end the book and I'm like, I wonder what they're up to. Like, did she solve that problem? Did they figure it out? Did the other kids have fun at the dance? Like, I care about all of the kids enough that I want to know what's going on with, like, a non-main character as well. But I also sit there and wonder, like, what are these people up to? I'm telling you right now, some of these kids might end up on the, like, list of characters I want to be friends with by the end of the year, because the story has been so good. And you don't have to be a Power Rangers fan. You don't have to know anything about Power Rangers at all to like it, because they build up a whole new lore of things that came from nowhere. All right, and then I want to tell you about my 3 favorite non-kids books for Free Comic Book Day, because I know that I have an ungodly amount of favorites for kids books, but I want to tell you about some of the ones I absolutely love. First up was Tons of Strange, which is 10 Ton Press's Free Comic Book Day book this year. They did a really great thing in that they have a hilarious little one-off about Star Wars at the beginning, because Free Comic Book Day was on Star Wars Day. So, like, look at this. Look at how cute it is. Oh my god. I don't think enough Star Wars fans knew that this was going to happen, so they didn't, like, the Star Wars fans didn't necessarily pick it up, and you missed out, because it's all about these people in a bar who, like, the activity is you have to build your own lightsaber, like, and whoever builds the best one is going to win a prize. And our main character is a ridiculous human, and it builds his out of, like, duct tape and like hot glue and everything at the last minute, and it's great to see what everybody comes up with, and it's kind of hilarious because there's so many little hidden, like, Star Wars jokes and references in there from the original, like, 3 Star Wars movies. So there's so many great stories. Just want to show you, like, a little bit more of it because it's so great. That is not why this book made it in my picks. I do want to just show you this because I think it's something that all of you would like. Especially because Free Comic Book Day was Star Wars Day this year. However, this book made it in my picks solely for the fact, oh my god, I don't even know where to start, that we got our first teaser of the sequel to Becoming Frankenstein. Becoming Frankenstein was one of my favorite books from 10 Ton Press. It was a great story of Frankenstein. It literally just kind of followed Victor the whole time. It wasn't about the creation of the monster. It was really, like, I mean, it was, but you actually saw, like, Victor, like, when he first went to the school, and then, like, connecting with all of the people who could put him in touch with everything, and then kind of like, oh yeah, and I made a monster and this bad thing happened. It was really, really just about Victor, and this is going to be the sequel, which is Elizabeth's Tale. And so it's what was Elizabeth, Elizabeth after everything happened, post Frankenstein, the novel, and post Becoming Frankenstein, the book, and her kind of saying like, hey, I know more than Victor. I knew more than you. Why didn't you let me in on your research? I could have made it happen and not had the problems you had. I could have actually built this creature and made it work. And so super cool. I can't wait. I'm really stoked for Elizabeth's Tale to come out. It's going to be amazing. If you didn't read Becoming Frankenstein, the trade paperbacks are available, and we're happy to get you set up with one. Romeo and Juliet, A Kill Shakespeare Adventure. This was from Gemstone Publishing, and I actually brought this because I actually read this because literally like 5 people have told me this was their favorite book from Free Comic Book Day already, and so I had to read it, and it's definitely going to be a good one. This is starts out with kind of wrapping up what we know from Romeo and Juliet, that Juliet took, poison to put her to sleep so that people would think she was dead, and then like Romeo shows up and thinks she's dead. And then it's like, what happened to Juliet though? She didn't actually kill herself according to this story. She actually became a warrior and is kind of taking everybody out. Every Shakespearean character in the world, in his worlds, exists in this book. And so you're kind of seeing her either team up with or destroy them. And the whole thing is that she's like, I have to kill William Shakespeare. I have to take him down. It's his fault that all of this bad stuff happens. I have to do it. And so Shakespeare is, we don't acknowledge that they're story characters. This isn't one of those, the characters are coming to life kind of killing, I want to kill them. This is, as far as we know as of right now, Shakespeare is just a person in this universe, and they are going to go after him. And Romeo is also a character who is not dead and is possibly leading all of the bad guys. We're going to figure that out as the story comes out. So once this actually hits shelves, if you are a fan of Romeo and Juliet and you want an alternate telling of what happens at the end, this is going to be a good one to check out. And lastly, for my picks from Free Comic Book Day, we've got Dying Inside, also from Vault. This is the issue 0 to the graphic novel that is coming out from Fallout Boys, Pete Wentz and Lisa Searle on art. If you know the Modern Witch Tarot deck, Lisa is the artist on that, and so they are coming together to make this book. They do have a trigger warning on this because this is about a girl who really thinks that her only, this experience she wants to have is committing suicide. So that is where this book 0 issue takes us. She is trying to figure out how to be like her favorite emo singer who she heard killed himself. And she's like, oh, I feel like we have everything in common, and I relate to him from his music and everything he ever did. And he also just happened to kill himself, and I think that that's the best thing I can do. But it doesn't go the way that she's planning for it to go, and there is some very big reasons why. But you do get to see her kind of talk about herself, talk about everything, and you fall in love with this character almost immediately. It was so well done that I immediately thought, wow, I really like this character. I want to read multiple books from her, whatever she's going to do. I'm probably going to be in because she's hilarious and funny. And I hope she doesn't actually die. And then we get to see her actually try some things and it not work. And this dagger might be a little magical. And we're going to see how that plays out for her. I love Lisa Searle's art. I have the Modern Witch Tarot deck. It is one of my favorites. And I don't want to show you anything else, but it was a great idea. And I believe it's Hannah Klein that's writing it with Pete. It's going to be a great book. Like I said, it's going to be a graphic novel, so it's not going to come out in single issues. So if it's something that you want, you need to let your comic shop know, because a lot of comic shops aren't going to order a bulk amount of graphic novels hoping for people to be interested in them. So it is going to come out. I think it has a date in the back. Nope, it doesn't. It just says it's coming soon as a graphic novel. So if you want it, you need to let your comic shop know. And you need to, if we are your comic shop, please let us know so I know to order you a copy when it comes out. We've got a lot of comic books that came out for Free Comic Book Day this week. I'm going to give you a quick rundown. This is a great Hellboy Stranger Things combo from Dark Horse. Kind of an easy in for Stranger Things. If you aren't watching the show, you don't really need to know who the characters are. And the Hellboy book kind of recaps a lot of what's ever happened in Hellboy and who he is, because he faces off against a medium who ends up kind of recapturing the whole thing. Mad Cave's got some really, really big books launching this summer, and one of them is Gotcha Man. And so this is your 0 issue for Gotcha Man, and inside of it we have the teaser for the new story, the like launch point for the new story, and I'll show you that art really fast so you can see what it's going to look like, because it's very like Speed Racer-esque. I guess it's very Gotcha Man-esque. And then they do have a classic Gotcha Man story. I feel like I'm reading an Archie, because I'm like, you get one new story, and then you get a classic story. And then you actually get a teaser at the end for one of the spin-off books, which Steve Orlando is writing about one of the villains from the Gotcha Man universe and their time. So you are getting 3 teasers into your Gotcha Man universe in this, or I guess 2 teasers and a foresight into what happened with Gotcha Man when you read this. So if you haven't checked out Gotcha Man, this is a great way to kind of get you excited for that. They are also launching Flash Gordon this summer, and this is your 0 issue for that. I feel like I was supposed to go, ooh, Flash, like when I did it, like, but this is going to, one of the things that Jeremy Adams said when he was on a panel at New York Comic Con is he is not giving you an origin story. It's not an origin story. At this point, there's so much Flash Gordon, like, in existence that you know, like, enough that he can give you like some teaser, like some little exposition built into the story instead of just telling, like just going, oh, we're going to start all at the beginning. Like if you're a Flash Gordon fan, you know it. And if you don't, you can pick it up as you read this issue. Especially with this 0 issue, I was able to kind of put it together. Ming is doing bad things. People are coming after him. Flash Gordon is going to stop him. We're going to see where that goes and where that takes everybody as the story unfolds. But classic pulpy hero fun of the, you know, breaking in there. We've got the Energon Universe 2024 special. Here you go. If you haven't jumped into Transformers and G.I. Joe, this is your teaser. It's got 3 stories in it. The first one connects to our Transformers world and kind of gives us a backstory of how Starscream ended up in charge of the Decepticons, which is something we were seeing in Transformers. So gives you that backstory, continues in Transformers, picks up from there. Then we get to see a story that connects to Void Rivals that I'm not going to show you, because I'll show you this. You can see just this because it doesn't show you anything. Connects to Void Rivals. And last time I talked about Void Rivals on the live stream, I said in the very first issue it referenced Transformers, so we know it's going to connect back to Transformers, but we haven't seen how. It's in here. I'm not showing you how. You have to come get this book. If your store doesn't have it anymore, they're going to be releasing it in a version that you can buy coming soon. All of these are going to be important pieces to have in your puzzle, so you're going to want to have them. And then the last one picks up from where Duke left off and shows Duke going back to the government, like we saw at the end of Duke, and saying, hey, I got to build a team. I've got to stop these, evil robots that are coming. I've got to stop Deathstroke, and I know who I want to be on my team, and they are not in favor of it. And you're going to find out why when you read this. You need this. If you are reading the Energon Universe and you don't have this, you're going to be lost in your next round of Energon Universe, because all of the moments are in this book. So grab it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is starting us off on our new Ninja Turtles. If you know, TMT 150 just ended, so now we're getting a new Ninja Turtles universe. This is going to give you a story about Nightwatcher, which is written by Junie Baugh. He is a character that is gonna kind of dealing with the mutanimals and things like that, and he will actually have a Nightwatcher #1 coming to you soon. So Nightwatcher will be getting his own title within that. I love Junie Baugh because no matter what he's making stories about, he always has the best humanity commentary worked into it, and he definitely does that here. And then the second story is Splinter getting mad at the Turtles for roughhousing in the house and telling them to go out and go on patrol, only so that Splinter can do all of the same roughhousing that the boys were doing, and see how that works out. Those are my favorite episodes of the show always. And that one's just a one-shot, so you do get those 2 issues in there, your Nightwatcher teaser, and then your just fun one shot. Cursed Library Prelude from Archie. This reviews all of your Archie horror books from the last year. So everything that's come out with Jinx, Sabrina, Jughead, all of the Archie horror, it recaps all of those and then sets you up for an actual, finally, Cursed Library book coming our way from Archie. The World of James Tynion IV. This is Something is Killing Children. It's Wind. It's Mimetic. It's there's another one in here, I think. The Woods. And this does not have Wind in it. Sorry, the Wind is in the other one. Something is Killing Children and Mimetic and the Woods. These are reprints. Nothing in here is new in this one, so this is just your intro point to anything James Tynion that is adult at Boom. It does say, though, that there is a teaser, and this is why I thought Wind was in here, because it's not actually a story. There's just an ad for the fact that Wind is, Volume 4 is coming soon. The reprint of Something is Killing Children is actually a reprint of the beginning of the story. It is actually James's story from the very first issue of Something is Killing the Children, so you need that if you haven't read it yet. Street Fighter versus Final Fight. Honestly, Street Fighter, I know that these Udon Capcom books have been heating up recently, so grab that. Absolute Power, this is your DC book to launch off the new stuff that's about to happen in DC. This is going to be the entry point to that, and I believe there is a first appearance of a character in there that is key to that. Blood Hunt 1 for Comic Book Day. So if you read Blood Hunt this week, this actually comes after that. Comes before that, and it came out after that. Either way, you needed both of these books this week if you're reading the Marvel Blood Hunt story. Star Wars, Free Comic Book Day. I know a lot of people were really excited for that one. And Spider-Man Ultimate Universe. If you've been reading the Ultimate Universe, this is a Free Comic Book Day book to kind of give you some information if you've been missing out and if you want to keep going with that. Marvel Voices, I'm excited. I love when they do a Free Comic Book Day issue of this because it just highlights all of the diversity that Marvel is celebrating all throughout the year. Curse Verse, this is your American mythology book that showcases all the different American mythology books that have been coming out recently. So you get some teasers in each of those. The Valiants, this is from Alien Books, who is now hosting Valiant, and they are making a little universe out of the Valiant characters, coming your way soon. Conan, Battle of the Black Stone. This is the newest Conan story from Titan Comics. If you didn't know, Titan Comics got the rights to Conan back from Marvel, or away from Marvel, I guess I should say, and they are taking you back to everything that happened pre-Marvel for Conan's lore. All right, we've got some awesome kids books. We've got Barkham Asylum, which is one of the ones that everybody was super excited about yesterday. This is all of your villains in the DC universe with dog and cats themed. Doctor Who, getting you ready for the new Doctor coming your way this summer. I'm so excited. This is a great launching endpoint if you have been watching those specials and waiting for it to happen. Johnny Quest is back with Dynamite. You also get a teaser for Thundercats and Space Ghost in this one. So those new Dynamite cartoon titles that are coming out. Maleficent. This is the series that just wrapped up from Disney. There is going to be a volume 2 for this. And so if you didn't get to read it, this is a great way to get a teaser. We actually used this Maleficent Volume 1 issue in our Story Spelunkers. So this is a great one to give to kids. And if you want a lesson plan on how to talk to your kids and activities they can do afterwards, we have that from Story Spelunkers that we're happy to share with you. Far Cry, this is our manga section. We had Far Cry, Call of the Herd. This is based off of the Ubisoft video game, and this is actually a manga, so it is going to read in the reverse direction. It's from Tokyo Pop, though, so it is in color. One Piece, Ace's Story, we had that for Free Comic Book Day as well. This is probably the hottest book at Free Comic Book Day, is a new One Piece title. We've got Initial D, given us an awesome new manga that I believe at least volume 1 is on the shelf right now, so check that out. And then we had Gannibal. This was also a really hot manga. This is a more mature manga, mostly just for the violence, though, but keep that in mind when grabbing that. And then all of the more of our now we're at the kids' books. I had grabbed the other ones earlier, said we were at kids' books. We were not. We're at Unico. This is bringing back Unico, who was a manga character and a cartoon a long time ago, bringing him back for the modern world. I'm very excited. Witches of Brooklyn. So excited for this new graphic novel, as well as The Night Librarian. These are going to be fantastic kids' graphic novels. Unicorn Crush. Super adorable, from the same publisher that you know and love, who brings you Big Meat. We've got Katie the Cat Sitter and Max Meow for a double feature of ferocious fun. Snoopy is back with the Beagle Adventures. I'm so excited. I cannot wait for that book to launch. Ultra Duck is launching with a title to bring us this character who I believe is his first appearance in comics. Asterix is back from Paper Cuts. It's been a minute since we've had something from this classic cartoon strip, but we have a collection of them for you here from Mad Cave. Here it is, the Boombox, is it Boombox? Yeah, Boombox 10th anniversary, and this features Zawa and Giant Days and Lumberjanes and Midas, a bunch of more reprints of the 10 years of celebrating Boombox, which is the teen imprint from Boom Studios. We've got Monster High back in comic form, and I screamed a little bit when they announced that. I'm so excited. There's going to be a Pride issue coming in June from Monster High.
And we still have them for the 3 people who called us today asking if they're here or not. Yes,
there you go.
We
still have some
copies.
If you were one of the people that called, or if you are somebody who didn't call and you were wondering. We also have the newest Pokemon manga. This is a little teaser for it. This book is also out if you are a Pokemon manga fan or just a Pokemon fan. Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures and Plants vs. Zombies from Dark Horse. These are new kids Star Wars books and Plant vs. Zombies coming your way soon. Spidey and His Amazing Friends only ever comes out in floppy format at Free Comic Book Day. We need to work on that, Marvel. Give us this all the time. And then we had the Encanto Turning Red flip book from Paper Cuts. Way to go, Mad Cave, for bringing us both of those. I'm so excited. I love both of those movies. And the amount of moms who said, my son thinks Turning Red is the best Disney movie in recent times to me yesterday when picking up this book made my heart so happy. Keep doing what you're doing, moms, and showing your sons Turning Red. All right, and then in stocks for regular books that we had this week, we have Homeland issue 0 from Advent Comics, which is all about a new superhero team that is working to save our country. Blood Hunt issue 1 is out this week. We are out of the red band. We are out of the regular cover, but we do have a couple of variant covers left. We've had a lot of DC annuals this week, including Harley Quinn and The Flash and Nightwing, all having their annuals hit on the same week. We've got The Incredible Hulk issue 12 out this week. The Phantom Menace celebrated 25th anniversary yesterday, which is insane. So congratulations to the Phantom Menace and that crew for celebrating 25 years. And there is a comic form to cheer you on. King Spawn issue 33 out this week. The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 88. Those are just reprints of The Walking Dead in color. Power Pack issue 5 from your original Power Pack creator team. Back on it again. Get Fury issue 1. And we are actually, you see that? We're actually using the Max Comics logo again.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. So Max is back from Marvel. And then we had our DC Spring issue. We always get like a seasonal thing from DC. We got DC Spring Breakout. It's a anthology of stories. I love this. We had a Harley playing like on the like outfield team, and then the fielding team, and then we had a Batman batting cover, and I love them both. And then we had Cable issue 4 out this week. Oh my god, I missed Investigators and Loud House in my Free Comic Book Day books. You can never forget Investigators. Those guys are bomb. And then trade-wise, we had Volume 1 of Spider-Boy out. This includes Spider-Boy 1 through 4. The Edge of Spider-Verse 3 issue he was in, and Amazing Spider-Man number 31. We have We Live Here, which is a graphic novel that talks about, it's a graphic journalistic book about the Detroit housing issue and all the evictions that were happening unfairly and everything that went down with that. Please read this book. It's very important. And then we have a new graphic novel called Homebody, which is the comics debut of Theo Parrish. And it is all about, it's a memoir about the journey of a non-binary person and the ability to find a home within your own body. And it's really beautiful. So we've got all that in stock. I believe Matt just brought me something. Are you bringing me something?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So if you didn't know, this year CGC helped sponsor Free Comic Book Day, and one of the things that they did was they sent a graded comic to all the participating stores that signed up for it of different books. It's just random free comic book day books from this year, and they actually graded them and put the free comic book day label that is launching this year on it. First time we ever have a free comic book day label. It's super exciting. I do want you to also know that like some of these did not come in as 9.8, so like they didn't just put a 9.8 automatically on the book. They actually legitimately graded these. So it's a real 9.8 from CGC. Super cool. Thank you, CGC, for doing that. And for all the promotion, let's just take 2 seconds to shout out CGC for all the promotion about Free Comic Book Day, going to like stores. They went to, I think it was 20 stores nationwide, promoted, go into your local comic shop. We're constantly sharing the Free Comic Book Day and Comic Shop Locator, talked about it, and they sent these to stores for free to do a random chance drawing for. So we are going to actually draw a winner for this Johnny Quest right now. Okay, I'm not gonna look. Oh, that was so confusing because the winner is Shannon, and Shannon also has the same last initial as me. So it is not me though.
Shannon LaPolt.
Yes, Shannon LaPolt won, not me. But I was like, Shannon L. I won. I didn't know I was eligible to win. Also, I don't remember filling it out. No, so Shannon LaPolt, you are the winner of this, which is super exciting. I know you were very excited to see this book being like and entering and everything. So congratulations, Shannon. I'm super excited for you. I'll have this in your box for you on Wednesday when we reopen. Yay, and thanks again, CGC, for sending that out. We are going to be launching another random chance drawing though, because we have an incredible thing to raffle off. One of our amazing customers actually took a short box and filled it with all kinds of comics, from like store exclusives and different things, like old books, new books, all kinds of stuff, and it is a completely full short box, and we are going to be raffling that off starting this week in the store. And we are super excited about raffling that off, and we're going to tell you more about who we're raffling it off for and how you can enter when you this week in the store. So keep an eye out for that. It's a whole short box full of comics. It's going to be amazing. Like I said earlier, we are drinking Tassajara Pinot Noir today from Costco. It is cherry. It's rich flavors. It's got a smooth finish, but it does have that like little bit of acidic tannin kick, just so you know. But it says it goes great with food, so I'm excited to actually pair it with that. And it is sustainably grown, which I think is super cool. Coming out of Earth Month, it's nice that we continue to celebrate our Earth all year long by doing new things to keep the Earth growing and beautiful. It was fantastic seeing you all yesterday at Free Comic Book Day. What a wonderful experience it was for us and for everybody else. And I lost my fire, but don't forget to join us this Saturday at SiestaCon from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. down in Sarasota at the Robarts Arena. We're going to be having fun with all of our friends. We hope you'll be there to join us and celebrate that as well. It's going to be another great weekend for comic books. We'll see you here on Wednesday for those new comics. And until then, happy reading, everyone.